Okay. Sorry it took so long to get on. I didn't switch off my ATM multi-stream, and I wanted to make sure my YouTube was going to record. So, hello everybody. It's Brian. It's Friday. Apologies it being Friday. Turn that down just a little bit. We'll switch to that when I can get to it. Yeah, it's Friday, and I have finished the week, and I hope you have too. On a somewhat pleasant note. Uh, if you're some educational institutions, probably not having a good week, but yeah, I mean, we'll get into that if the Socvel quiz mentions that at all, which I can't imagine it wouldn't. But yeah, it's been a good day. I got to see my only child, well, other than this one. Yeah, graduate from community college today, so that was nice. We went to the graduation ceremony. Got out, I don't know, an hour or two ago. So, uh, yeah, about it's amazing. There are thousands of I don't want to say kids because they're not kids, but thousands of people who from all walks of life seeking knowledge and improving themselves. Some of them getting multiple associate's degrees. My daughter alone, she got three on her own because of the classwork that she took and a certificate to, that these three associates are going to. Yeah, thanks, Walt. Uh, Prepare her for SDSU when she moves to San Diego State in the fall. So I don't know what everyone else is doing there. Obviously, I don't know how everyone else is doing. There was a good number of, well, hell, there was everything, including, I think I heard at least a couple of folks from information systems or information or cybersecurity. There was a couple of more than a few folks getting like physics associates or mathematics. There was some humanities. My daughter humanities and history, I believe. And so it was just great to, and even in the trades. So there was aircraft mechanics, there was diesel mechanics. I mean, it was all kinds of stuff. I didn't even realize they had that amount of stuff. Some AV folks, people maybe like to make content or what have you. So it was just a really good day and a lot of positivity, and it was just a really nice time. Everybody seems like they had a good time. Everybody's very proud of their graduates, and very proud of my daughter for that. So, um, yeah. Uh, so, what have I been doing? Last week or two, last week to 7 days, I've really got into Claude. Uh, to the point where I actually made a thing and am in the process of making another thing. And technically, the thing that I've made, the second thing that I made, is actually probably good enough to use on the reg. What are those things, you might ask? Yeah, they're not security related because I just don't want to make security tools. So, um, because well, my opinion of open sourcing and giving away security tools for free has been well known and well chronicled here. I don't wish my tool to be used for evil, so I'm not going to release any security tooling because that's not what I want to do. So, um, yeah, so we'll do the Socvel quiz. Maybe we'll do half of the Socvel quiz, and then we'll talk a little bit about what I've been working on. But yeah, actually, we'll do the one thing that I've made, and then we will do the Socvel quiz, and then we'll continue on if we get time because it's almost 3 o'clock now. So anyway, uh, there we go. Oh, there I am. Hey, there I am again. My bad. Okay, there's the Socvel quiz. There's the second thing I'm making. Here's the first thing I'm making. Okay, so I got Claude, right? And I got Claude Pro, I think. And it comes with three different models, Opus 4.7, actually 4.7, 4.6, comes with Sonnet, and it comes with Haiku 5.2, I believe. So a couple of the things that I learned real quick was that you use Opus, you're going to run out of tokens. I burned through a whole, I would say, 5 hours. I don't know how that works here. When you get Pro, you don't get unlimited tokens, but you do pay them for a certain number of tokens per day. And so I was like, what do I want to build? And one of the things that I was like, I want to, and as you can see the background here is moving around, and I made that. I made this thing here, which is the browser window you see right here. It's the HTML file for that. I made an animated background that changes, and with the and yeah, it uses HTML and style sheets and JavaScript to create a dynamic moving background. Very much like I wanted to equate it to a lava lamp, but the best thing I could come up with was I just like it because I wanted something a little more than the static thing that you've seen when you come back over here. So I've been using this for a few years, and it's not free. It was free, but it's not mine. And I just wanted something a little different, and something that was a little, that I could say was my own, right? That I actually researched what it would take to have an animated background, very similar to these, and it was going to cost me like $170 on something called Victrizi. Um, I found a Linux Mac OS application. I wanted to run it on FreeBSD. Walt's here with me, so he's doing a power walk through Costco. I don't know how he's power walking, or no, he's mall walking through Costco, not power walking. I don't know how he's walking through Costco without running into free samples and stuff. It's like abandon all hope when you try to go through there, especially if you got a cart. So I pointed codecs to it on my Mac and asked it to port it. It came back and gave me a 6 to 8 lines of code that needed to be changed, and the changes worked. Oh, very cool. Okay. Yeah, I actually found I've got some links. Our local DEF CON meetup that happened on Wednesday. There was a person who had done some research and was talking about securing MCPs, which I didn't know that was the talk, but it was kind of nice to have that because it's directly applicable to my work. So yeah, I ended up finding out a few things, learning a couple new tools, which I'll share those as well. I shared them in the Discord and on our Slack, but if those of you who don't frequent those, these might be some interesting tools for you to get. So I was like, I want an animated background and I don't have to pay for it. So I was like, let me get my Claude up and running and see what I can do about that. So I created an animated background. Let me go view page source. So it's an HTML file. It's got style sheets in it. Come on, motherfucker. Seriously. God damn. So yeah, it uses what the hell is the style sheets? Tailwinds? Tailwinds? Is that what it is? Tailwinds CSS? Yeah, Tailwind CSS. Apparently Claude is a huge fan of that. It's actually using it for my other project as well, which is also an HTML, CSS, JavaScript styled deal. Had 8 samples so far. See, you don't even have to eat lunch when you go there. I mean, the hot dogs and the pizza are great. And I wouldn't kick the churros out of bed. I think they have churros still. Yeah, Walt, I mean, the problem is some of the samples aren't all food, right? I think they had chewable vitamins. I think they had chewable vitamins in the Costco we go to, and I was like, really? I guess it's nutritious or something. But yeah, so it's a utility first framework with classes that allow you to build any design directly in your markup. And so yeah, it was where's it at? Damn you. Okay, there you go. So you get all these different CSS styles, and I will tell you, it is a fairly lengthy CSS script. It's like 1,134 lines of code. I didn't build any of it. I asked Claude through VS Code to. I said I want to make an animated background. And it's got rid of the churros, replaced them with. Okay, so it seems like maybe Costco's around the country do something a little different. Walt, when I lived in Snoqualmie or Issaquah, we'd go down to Costco headquarters. So I think they have different things at maybe some of the different Costco's. So, but yeah, so it goes through, and the final thing was something I was very proud of. I was like, oh, okay. Make a background with a gradient or something that will change colors or shift colors, allow you to do that. And then I was like, iterate through these things. It was like, I want to be able to make it change colors. I want to maybe, do these things. And I was like, I need a control panel and I need to, I was like, well, this is nice. But I said, no, I think the first thing I said was I would like an animated background with a gradient of blue, green, and purple. And it obliged me. It gave me that. I mean, it was literally blue, green, and purple, blue, green, and purple. But I was like, maybe I wanted to do certain things, or maybe, and I was like, at some point I had a control panel down here at the bottom, and I was like, well, let's move it off to one side and make it so that if I wanted to make changes to that, I could. And so it gave me a nice feature like this. And so I started iterating on it and iterating on it, and I realized, well, it was moving too fast. So I was like, "Can you slow it down for me, or give me the ability to slow it down so I can speed it up? I can make it as fast as I want it to be. I can slow it down to as small as I want it to be. I can also change how long it takes before it shifts direction or control. I think it goes up to 60 seconds. And I said, give me up to 10 background colors. So I can put 10 background colors on here. So up to 10. And I can remove them if I want to, and I can randomize them. So if some of them get a little weird, obviously. But yeah, so I can make them whatever color I want. And then I said, I want some orbs, or I want something in there to kind of break up the monotony on that thing. So you can create orbs on this, where you can create up to 10 different colored orbs. And then I was like, well, I want to be able to change the size of the orbs. So these will go up to 1,000 or something. So it goes from 50 pixels. You see here where it says it goes from 50 pixels to 1,000. So I can make it go all the way up to, I don't know, 700, 800 here. And I said, maybe I'd like some text on the background. We got some jets flying over, so if you hear that, I apologize. And then I was like, so I kept iterating on it. I was like, oh, I got an idea. And Claude was very nice about making the changes and making it so that, it kept track of those things. Like, oh, you want to do this, you want to do that. Okay, we'll keep track of that for later. What's, it's like, what's minimum viable product or what have you. So, boy, I am lagging hard. Okay, so it may not be performant. That may be the only the other downside. Let me see. Let me turn that down a little bit. Yeah, speed 1. Okay, so yeah, my stats on OBS is telling me it is lagging like a mofo, which is not something I expected when I did this. Let me see. Profile. Where are my docs? There's my stats. Okay, so I'm gonna enable preview to maybe gain some bits back. Now, to be fair, I'm at like 51 frames a second, so it's like whatever, but it's still lagging pretty hard. Let me okay, so I'm on like low quality and low power here. So let me hit the automatic, so if I can get some extra CPUs in here. There we go. Oh, now we're down to 4 milliseconds. Okay, cool. So yeah, I kept making this thing. I kept iterating on it. I was like, I don't want the text always here. What if I wanted to do like a lower thirds kind of thing, that kind of thing. So, and it was an iterative process, right? It was like, oh, okay, let's put this in, and it was like the coordinates were messed up. So if I put in like 25 or something in here on the x coordinate, it would move in the opposite direction. I was like, according to Cartesian, coordinates or what have you, positive y is up, positive x is that way, and it was doing it in the exact opposite direction. I was like, what the hell is going on? I was like, oh, okay, I get it. And I had to give it examples. So like I would do a Google image search for what Cartesian coordinates were like, and showed it that, positive y and positive x are in the northeast quadrant of the four corners, and negative x, negative y is in the southwest quadrant. Once I kind of got those things, it was fine. And I can actually add up to 5 different lines here for this. So I can add up to 5 lines. I can change whatever fonts that are available. I think it actually makes a call out to Google Fonts to pull some things. But if I wanted to change the font types to something else, I can do that. Which it's pretty cool. I mean, it works for me, and I don't need to have the text in there if I don't want it. And on top of that, it will save to disk, It will save as a JSON file, which you can see I can save the file here, and it will save a JSON file right there. It'll also load a file, which will allow me to move the JSON file between systems if I wanted to do that. It will also save the local storage. So if I don't have the JSON file, it's already made these changes to the browser so that I, automatically, have two different places to save. So I was real happy with this. It does exactly what I needed to do. I didn't have to pay $170 for something that doesn't randomize. It doesn't have additional functionality. So I was pleased. It did take a few times, and I did run out of Opus, the ability to use Opus, which I was like, well, that's kind of jacked up. I don't have to pay extra for tokens for something like a style sheet or HTML or whatever. And in my research, I realized and found out that you don't have to use Opus for a lot of things. This is where I figured out that things like Sonnet and Haiku are usually better for lesser tasks. Anyway, this is what I was working on, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. It's great. Oh, and I can make it random. I can make the direction of how everything moves random. I can change to where everything runs in a circle, or it goes left to right, or right to left. It goes up to down, down to up, or it'll go diagonally even. And I can change the colors, make them whatever I want. If I decide I don't want all these colors, I can make one color. So make a purple background only a purple background. I can make it only a green, purple and green dots, that kind of thing. So it's great. I love it. Am I going to open source it? No. I don't think I'm going to make anything that I have open source, to be honest. I don't have to deal with the bullshit. I'm getting too old for this shit. Center that back up. So this is nice, and I'm going to continue using it as my my background until I can iterate on it and make it a little better. So, and I have it in GitHub. I have it in GitHub repo for me that's private. I've been using VS Code for amazing capabilities. It will automatically upload to Git if you want it to, but I keep telling it no because I want to kind of do it myself. But yeah, this was a nice first project for me, and it's not security related in any way. So I really enjoyed doing this, and it wasn't painful. I can just sit down there on my couch and I can just do this thing. I actually made a 2-hour video, which I will post up at some point, on me going through the process of building this thing from scratch into the iteration you see here. But yeah, it's nice. Okay, now, and it's 1,100 lines of code and it works, right? The other thing that I'm working on is a little bigger, a little more complicated. I actually, the character sheet that I'm building for Pathfinder 2, I actually went in and I asked it to do a refactor because there'd been enough stuff that it had committed that was like, no, that's wrong. Or, oh, let's do this instead of this. And I was like, well, should probably see if there's anything I can take out to reduce the load or make it smaller or simplify the process. And yeah, I think I think it was about 3,200 lines of HTML style sheets and JavaScript. And I think I took about 600 lines out because it was stuff that didn't need it anymore. Or run Git locally. Commit your changes at each stage. No need to push to GitHub. I do run. Okay, what do you mean by running Git locally? You mean like run the CLI locally, or you want me to like start up a Docker and run Git that way? Because, I actually tell it to not necessarily do that all the time. Let me see. Enable preview. Oh, well, you can see some of what I'm doing in VS Code here. So, we'll talk about beads afterwards as well. So beads was something I learned at the DEF CON meetup the other night. So let me pull up see. Grab the. I also went because they were going to be talking about DEF CON and getting that ready for that. Let me see. Oh yeah, here's the. Okay, so if you want to play around with LLMs in a security lab, there is a professor, the guy who spoke, who is Nicholas Behar, who also runs something called Nauticon. No, Nauticon and Ensenada. There it is. It is a security conference. It is in English and Spanish. It is on the 6th of June coming up. I didn't tell him I would actually, pimp out his conference, but it is no sponsor. They are taking papers if they haven't already stopped. I don't know, but they will take papers on either format. I think he said on Wednesday night they have roughly half Spanish, half English. It's in Ensenada in Mexico, which is just, I want to say just on the other side of the border here from San Diego, but it's an informal security get-together, good talks, cold beer, fresh seafood, ocean breeze. No badges, no lanyards, nada. I think they said they're going to use like wristbands or something for the speakers, but that's about it. Very low key, very not corporate. So if that's something that you find interest in, here is nauticon.xyz. I didn't tell him I was going to be mentioning his bit, but God damn it. One of these days I'll figure all this out. You can run from the CLI or use VS Code for a GUI. You don't need to push, just commit as you go. Yeah. That's, I've got, I've got my repository here. I do have a Git folder locally. I can just sync the changes and then push later, right? So that's definitely something you can do that I have done. I do tell it because it will sometimes ask me, hey, do you want to commit this? I was like, no, I want to test it and see if it works first. I need you to test it and make sure that it works first. So both of us test it to make sure that it actually works. So, call for papers close. Oh, looks like the call for papers closes, today. So you could probably still go if you want to. And go to sessionize.com/Nauticon. But if you got to talk and you're going to be in the San Diego / Ensenada area, you can go and check that out. But yeah, June 6th, 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. So it's also in the afternoon, early evening. So very different. I could imagine that's not the only thing that might be a little different in the vibe there with regards to that. So, but it's kind of cool. We have a lot of good stuff going on here with various conferences in the area. So, anywho, let me see. No, I think I'm just gonna figure that out. Yeah, there we go. So let's put on our thinking caps. We'll talk about the Pathfinder character sheet later. That one's actually been a little bit challenging, but it's in a good way because it's making me think about different ways to communicate with LLMs. So, all right. I'm gonna make this a little bigger. There we go. All right, we're gonna start lay quiz. There we go. Well, there it is. I haven't even done this yet, and there it is right there. To whom did infrastructure pay a ransom following the global breach of their Canvas platform? Either Shiny Hunters, Lapsus Scattered Spider, or Shiny Lapsus Hunting Spiders. That one is, of course, I believe Shiny Hunters is the big one that is people are mentioning. Hold on, let me shrink that just a little bit. There we go. Yep, Shiny Hunters was the one. My daughter's community college that she was going to, SDCCD, and my college my wife goes and teaches at, we're both on that list of about 8,500 systems or colleges that were hit, including UCSD, SDSU, and pretty much a lot of elementary schools, high schools, private schools, anything that uses Canvas in this case, because campus is hot garbage. I don't like Krebs. Okay. So he says an ongoing extortion attack. Yeah, nearly 9,000 educational institutions. You can find the full list of this stuff online as well. So, uh, yeah, and people were getting emails about like students were getting sent emails because if they are using Canvas, probably they use like Gmail or Google Workspace or something like that. So there was people getting phishing emails or something like that saying, "Hey, tell them to pay the ransom. Don't you want to get back to work or something?" So it came. The attack came at a really interesting time because it was both the end of the school year, so finals was going on, which hampered the ability for some company or some schools to give finals. But at the same time, it was also where people were registering for like fall semesters, and being able to sign up for classes was difficult for some people, depending on how organizations used Canvas. So yeah, yeah. How and to add to it, probably not related to Shiny Hunters and Canvas, but San Diego Community College, they'd been down for about a week because somebody had owned up their firewalls and took them offline. So that was an entirely different thing. But people who were trying to register for classes at SDCCD also couldn't do that even after people got back access to Canvas because they were down for until this morning. I think I checked it about noon today Pacific time, and they were back up. So, yeah, students and faculty were flooded socially media sites with comments saying the ransom demand from Chinese had replaced the usual Canvas login page. Instructure responded by pulling Canvas offline, replacing the portal with "We're undergoing scheduled maintenance." I don't think did they lie about being scheduled maintenance? Weird. "We anticipate being up soon and will provide updates as soon as possible." Read the current page on Instructure's status page. Well, it's a good thing that they weren't trying to use Canvas for their status page. I mean, that's a plus, right? Um, while the data stolen by Shiny Hunters may or may not contain PII or particularly sensitive information, they do claim several billion private messages among students and teachers, as well as names, phone numbers, and email addresses. The hack could have come at a worse time. Many were affected in the middle of final exams, and prolonged outage highly damaging for the company. Yeah, that sucks. But yeah, I mean, there's if you're a competitor to Canvas, you're probably feeling a little smug today. Either that's because you're hoping you'll get some sales off of this, or you may be feeling a little envy because you're not in the news for any reason, way, shape, or form. So, Shiny Hunters has breached Instructure again. Yeah, this wasn't the first time they've had Canvas go pear-shaped and had been attacked before by Shiny Hunters. I want to say that that's happened before. Yeah, September 2025. They released thousands of internal U of P files, donor records, internal memos, and other confidential materials through what Daily Pennsylvanian determined was in part a Canvas Instructure mediated access path. Yeah. So this is one of those things like a Salesforce instance where everybody uses it because it's best in breed, and depending on how it's set up or how you're managing it or how your cloud provider's managing your tools, you leave yourself open to attack and leave yourself vulnerable. So will anything change? Instructure is going to make changes, but I don't see schools don't have the culture of being able to do things like, well, we need to change vendors or whatever, because everything is just kind of I don't want to say fully integrated, but they don't make changes that swiftly. So Instructure pretty much got people over a barrel right now with regards to Canvas. They're never not going to use Canvas. And to be fair, if any competitor of Canvas was probably making a sale based on, well, we don't want Canvas anymore, we're going to move to you. Um, Hopefully, the competitors would be like, oh yeah, we're not going to try to, raw dog you on pricing or anything like that. But some of the competitors may see some sales in the next, I'm not saying, maybe 1%, half a percent. Will depend on, if the schools feel like it's a not a risk, but it's worth, rip and replacing, and taking budget that they may or may not have and replacing that. So yeah. So UPenn failed to pay the $1 million ransom, but according to what I had read earlier was that somebody at Instructure did actually pay the ransom this time. So it will be, yeah, here you go. It's functioning normally again, and the hackers exploited an issue related to free for teacher accounts. Interesting. Maybe hopefully, I'd like to think, somebody will investigate this functionality and figure out how they were able to exploit that. Maybe it's a logic flaw. Maybe it's a improperly provisioned method by which that. But if it's a specific kind of account, maybe the accounts got, they were able to get upgraded or something. So this is the same issue that led to the unauthorized access the prior week. As a result, we made a difficult decision to temporarily shut down free for teacher accounts. These accounts have been a core part of our platform, and we're committed to resolving the issues with these accounts. So yeah, something with the free for teacher accounts. Come on. Free for teacher accounts. Okay, so free for teachers built for the curious, independent, passionate educators who want to teach, no strings. Whether you're exploring the basics or delivering full courses, Canvas Free for Teacher gives you the tools to create, connect, and make learning happen. You can build interactive courses with assignments, discussion, quizzes, and more. Personalized learning. The outcomes, mastery paths. Okay, so the fact is you have access to all these, and you can use third-party tools that elevate your course experience. Having third-party access or third-party plugins or extensions is a nightmare. I would not be surprised if there was a third-party tool or something that somebody downloaded that caused that issue. Canvas Free for Teachers, open, accessible, and educator-focused. That's commitment and action. Whatever. Okay. Well, it looks like they may still have it open. You might try to get a free for teacher account and run a little burp suite, or have AI analyze that for potential issues. But don't be surprised if black helicopters start knocking on your door and asking you science questions or something like that. So anywho, all right, well, I got that one. It's the only one I got. I'm doing pretty good. So next question. Sideres showcased how attackers can bypass conditional access by registering a what? I want to say Microsoft tenant. I think I read at least the title for this. I'm going to say it's a tenant. Oh, Phantom device. Okay. Damn. Yeah, I'd seen this. Okay. I didn't. Okay. Full tenant. See, I remembered the tenant. I didn't remember the Phantom device bit. So Cider is conducted authorized red team ops against the production enterprise intra ID tenant. That's pretty big. That's 16,000 users, 82,000 devices, 78 conditional access policies, starting from a single set of valid user creds blocked by conditional access. Engagement produced a full bypass chain, phantom device registration, primary refresh token minting, in-tune compliance without a real device, enterprise application exfiltration. Wow. On-prem to cloud privilege escalation path mapped to global administrator. Wow. Okay, so global administrator, that's bad. Because global administrator Well, as you can see where they buried the lead here, global administrators have almost unlimited access to your organization's settings and most of its data. So that's God mode almost. The only other thing I would imagine is, yeah, there we go. No. Global admin. There we go. Limit the number of global administrators as much as possible. Global admin could inadvertently lock their account or require a password reset. Either another global admin or privileged authentication administrator can reset a global admin's password. Therefore, have at least a privileged authentication administrator in case a GA is locked out of their account. Okay. So, so that's what a global administrator is. Key findings: valid credential blocked by conditional access is not a dead end. Device registration service endpoint was unprotected by enforcement mode policies, providing an authentication path that the CA did not block. CA, I'm assuming the certificate authority. This is the same entry vector Storm 2372 operationalized at scale beginning in August 2024. It is a suspected Russian state-aligned threat actor tracked by Microsoft, assessed with moderate confidence to act in Russia's interests. Okay, so they've also targeted telecoms, defense contractors, NGOs, and energy sector entities across Europe, North America, Africa, and the Middle East. So there's a decent write-up here, apparently. I'll have to go look through this. Let me put that link down here. That's why we can't have nice things. Man, a lot of air activity going on right now on a Friday afternoon. That's weird. All right, so there's an attack chain. So initial access was found, but blocked by conditional access. Finding an auth path that the CA does allow. Okay. Registering a phantom device. There it is. Okay. AD joins a client, generates an RSA key pair, constructs a certificate signing request, submits it to the DRS endpoint. DRS. Don't know what DRS is. Let me see. If you're going to write a write-up, don't assume everybody knows what you're talking about. If I have to go and look and find out what a DRS is, dumb requesting shit. I don't know. DRS stands for something. If you know, please put it in chat. Anywho, okay. Registering a phantom device. So there you go. The DRS API does not validate whether the caller is a real Windows machine. Oh, wow. Okay, so the DRS assumes DR service, device registration service, DRS, device registration service. There you go. But it doesn't actually. Well, how would it verify that? If you have an RSA key pair, it just verifies the key pair and then says you're good to go. Gives you a device ID and gives you a cert, right? AD now believes your PC.PC01 or -PC01 is a legitimate Azure AD joined Windows endpoint. Wow. CA policy governing device registration was in report-only mode. It logged what would have happened. It blocked nothing. So it was listening, basically, but it wasn't stopping anything from happening because typically you don't want to necessarily block stuff. So yeah, I can understand why they didn't put it into enforcement mode in this case. Sorry, one second. I sent my mother pictures. Associate's degree, yes, for now. For now. She's heading to SDSU in the fall. Yep. Yeah, it was my mother. She lives in Central Time Zone, so she's 2 hours ahead of us here. So yeah, there's a decent article here for this. So we'll press on. Anyway, all right, number 3. Huntress wrote don't Ouroboros that allows you to do what on Windows Server 2025. Now, blue screening. I don't see why you would want to blue screen something. Ouroboros is the snake that eats itself, right? When you see the pictures, it's usually a circle, and you've got the snake's head with its tail, and it's eating itself. feels like you would want. Feels like you would name it after something that would make sense here, but blue screen doesn't make any sense unless you're forcing reboots and you actually do want to DDoS stuff, which are, constant reboot loop would be an Ouroboros of sorts. Extracting creds, redirecting traffic. You could redirect traffic in an infinite circle and cause a denial of service, or you could always, I will say redirecting traffic. Nope, extracting creds. Okay. DMSA, Ouroboros, self-sustaining credential extraction in Windows Server 2025. Okay, well, that got me. So we will paste and paste. There we go. All right, so this companion blog created in partnership with security researchers at Akamai unpacks DMSA Ouroboros, a self-sustaining credential extraction technique in Windows 2025. After you read their blog, come back here for what it means in practice. A user with create child on any OU, organizational unit, it's an LDAP term, or a container, and write property on a target account can create a DMSA that extracts the target's NT hash, persists through password rotation, survives the original attacker's account deletion, and locks out domain admins from remediation. 6 commands, fully patched. Here you go. DMSA, Delegated Managed Service Accounts, with a redesigned security model that removes the password retrieval primitive and replaces it with a KDC or Kerberos domain controller mediated authorization flow. The design is genuinely better than GMSA, which I'm assuming is global. GMSA. You cannot read a managed password from the directory, and access to the superseded account's credentials is gated through a separate authorization check. And Windows is just, they make shit so complicated. I mean, there's so many things that go into this. What is a GMSA? Oh, group, not global. Group managed service account, specialized, highly secure type of AD, Active Directory domain account, designed specifically to run applications and services across multiple servers without requiring administrators to manually manage or rotate passwords. So, yeah, they make things so complicated. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, I would hope that they're working on making this stuff a little less insecure, but it is what it is. Let's go to the Akamai website. Okay, so wow, that's a shitty way of doing that. All right, here's the Akamai Ouroboros. So they partnered with Akamai for this, so paste that up. And then we will paste up the Akamai blog post. There we go. Is there a diagram? Okay, we got diagrams, folks. I will tell you. Claude, or Gemini in some cases, but Claude definitely. If you're in a developer environment and your security people doing security reviews, have Claude do that for you. I would also suggest using something like mermaid.js, because everybody uses Jira, mostly. I would say mostly. But you can create mermaid.js files or something in Markdown that will allow you to show things like data flow, API calls. You can ask it to do a sequence diagram as well. There's several diagrams that you can get out of Mermaid functionality that will allow you to show what your application is doing. And it doesn't always have to be a data flow diagram. If you want to do some threat modeling, security people as well, ask the teams for a sequence diagram so you can walk through the logic and walk through where all the various components are going. and ask for a data flow diagram. Sometimes your AI or LLM will take both of those and you can actually create a threat model with those. Been doing a little bit of that this week at work with some folks because we're trying to simplify our security review process. That's all I'm going to say. But it's nice to have opportunities like this where, the way that I used to do threat models with folks when I was even at a consultancy won't fly today because they don't scale. They don't have 2.5 hours to sit down and draw the boxes in Visio or whatever, when Claude can do a lot of that stuff. And it may be like 80% correct. You're definitely gonna have to trust but verify, but you can go in and go, that doesn't make sense. Move this around. And a lot of things like Visio or Lucidchart, Excalibur is another one, but I think you have to do a little more work with that. But Visio and Lucidchart have AIs in them that will do things like show me where the trust boundaries are, and it will show you where, you've got the user out here and you've got, your components and whatever. And if your component has an API and your API's got a no auth token, that's a boundary, right? Your user to the application is a boundary. If the user connects to this and then this connects to this with a different account, that's a trust boundary because now you're going from this to up to there. Really helpful and really a time saver in this case. So anyway, Akamai got that in there, so we will just go ahead and remove that. We'll remove that. Okay, so next question. Number 4, I'm not doing very well. I may actually only get the one that I know of. Google Threat Intel says they believe they found the first instance of a what that was developed by AI. So this is a Threat Intel group. They believe they found the first instance of a what that was developed by an AI. A sentient agent? That sounds a little sensational. Vuln scanner? I don't know why a threat intel. I can see why bad guys would want to build a vuln scanner because it would automate their process of having to do things like gathering information, reconnaissance. Probably not a CISO. I'm thinking it's either vuln scanner or O'Day. But I don't know if I can't imagine Google Threat Intel is actually saying they found something developed by an AI. I'm going to say vuln scanner because they don't develop ODAs. ODAs exist. AIs find them. So I'm going to say vuln scanner. No, it was a fucking ODA. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, look, maybe I'm being pedantic, but they don't develop ODAs. Oh, by the way, music we're listening to, you can see it up at the top here on our screen. It is our good friends at Chill Hop Music. So, yeah, just a heads up. I totally forgot that. I'm hearing it in my head. So, hope you're enjoying that as well. There we go. You can go check that out. All right, so as continue to track a maturing transition from nascent AI-enabled operations to the industrial scale application of generative models within adversarial workflows. This report, based on insights derived from Mandiant incident response engagements, Gemini, and Google Threat Intelligence Group's proactive research, highlights the dual nature of the current threat environment, where AI serves as both a sophisticated engine for adversary operations and a high-value target for attacks. It's got to be weird, right? Using an AI tool to attack another AI tool. You want to get into a company so you can use their AI to do things with it, or distill it down, grab the products it creates or what have you. Here we go. It says, for the first time, Google Threat Intelligence Group has identified a threat actor using an O-Day or zero-day exploit we believe was developed with AI. I still don't get that. I would love to see how the criminal threat actor planned to use it in a mass exploitation event, but our proactive counter discovery may have prevented its use. Threat actors associated with the PRC, or People's Republic of China, and the Democratic People's Republic of Korea have also demonstrated significant interest on capitalizing on AI for vulnerability discovery. See, that's why I said it was a vuln scanner, not an ODay. You don't develop ODays. ODays exist. They just have to be discovered, right? Which is why I would have thought a vuln scanner would have made sense, because it's scanning for potential issues that could be ODays. Whatever. I'm not the marketing person at the GTIG, so I'm assuming that, maybe the AI wrote all that shit. I don't know. AI augmented development for defense evasion. AI driven coding has accelerated the development of infrastructure suites and polymorphic malware by adversaries. Sure. AI-enabled malware such as Prompt Spy, it almost looked like Promptspy or something. Anyway, signaled a shift towards autonomous attack orchestration, where models interpret system states to dynamically generate commands and manipulate victim environments. Well, that's good news. AI agents like Big Sleep to identify software vulnerabilities and use Gemini's reasoning capabilities via the likes of CodeMender to automatically fix them. Okay, so there you go. Sounds like a lot of marketing as well. Oh, we find shit, and we have these things at Google you can take advantage of. So yeah, it's part news, part marketing. So yeah. Anyway, got that one wrong. My bad. Wait. Cloud.google. Here we go. Copy. Paste. There we go. All right. And then what is the AI generated malware framework used by the Gentleman ransomware according to the latest DFIR report write up? Okay, so we learned about the Gentleman. Such a stupid name. Oh my God. Okay. So it's either Tuk Tuk, Tic Tac, Rickshaw, or Scooter. Do anybody have any ideas? I'm more than willing to entertain ideas. I'm batting at 0 right now, so I'm gonna say Scooter. Shit. Tuk Tuk. Fuck. Okay. So the DFIR report. Tuk Tuk. All right, there's that. There we go. Ether rat malware was first reported by Sysdig back in. Okay, good thing. There we go. Sysdig back in December 2025. At that time, the initial access vector was exploitation of React to Shell targeting Linux servers. In 2026, a Windows variant campaign was reported by Atos, with their investigation showing evidence of activity going back to the previous December. In April, we observed an intrusion linked to the Atos reported report campaign where EtherRat was installed via a malicious MSI, or Microsoft software installation, masquerading as a sysinternals tool. I do remember reading or missing the question on Socvel. I remember missing that, I think, or getting that right. Later in the intrusion, we observed deployment of a new malware framework named Tuk Tuk, first reported by Evangelos G, which, according to their analysis, is AI generated. Okay, there you go. In addition to this, the actor used the remote management remote monitoring and management. Okay, that makes more sense. Or GoToResolve. So that's the software they're using, GoToResolve, but it's remote monitoring and management. Using this access, they successfully exfiltrated data to a cloud service, then deployed the Gentleman ransomware. Wow. That is interesting. Okay. So there's, you know, I if anything, go read the write-ups because somebody took the time to make these fancy diagrams. Even if AI generated them, it still takes people time to generate these things. So, either have your AI scrape it down and give you a summation, or toss a coin to your Witcher, content creator, whatever they call them. That joke kind of fell flat. But yeah, go and check out some of this stuff because some of this might actually, I don't want to say save you, but you can definitely use it as a teaching tool for some of the folks in your organizations, especially if you have a heavy Windows environment or this is the stuff that AI is being used for. We should be trying to figure out how we're going to do better or protect against these things if it's at all possible. Green shot. Oh no, shit, I love green shot. Son of a bitch. Look at that. Yeah, I used green shot for a long time until I started using ShareX for that. No. Oh, hell. I use Sync Tracer as well. That's the Windows version of what used to be called it's not Bitcoin Sync, damn you. It is Sync, not Sync Thing. It is Sync Thing. Okay, so it is. I use Sync Thing for my personal cloud stuff. So I have Sync Thing on my MacBook. I have Sync Thing on here. Sync Trezor is for Windows-based systems because for whatever reason, Sync Thing doesn't come with a UI on Windows. So you either have to use a web browser or you use this application for launching Sync Thing. So yeah, I still have Sync Thing, but it's running on my Surface over there, which I haven't turned my Surface on in months. So I need to do that because I'm going on travel next week. So I need to get it all patched up and everything. Maybe it's a good time to put Linux on it. Maybe that's something we'll do on an upcoming stream. I'll just, put Windows or Linux or something on it. Tuk variants, yeah. DocFX I don't use. I don't use Cake either, so that's cool. I didn't know you could DLL side loading with these binaries. That's weird. Oh, fuck me. All right. Man, that's rough. I actually like Greenshot. Greenshot worked for a long time because it was far better than whatever Windows had for screenshotting. Then ShareX, I started using ShareX because it was like it also does screen recording and it does this other stuff. Yes, there was a ton of stuff that it did. So, yeah, okay, we got that link. All right, I am sucking this week with the tans. Oh, fuck, I didn't. It's okay. With the TanStack NPM supply chain compromise, how are compromised creds exfiltrated? Well, if it's a supply chain compromise and you're pulling NPM files into your environment and you've pulled in TanStack for whatever fucking reason you would want to do that, you're going to exfiltrate them using Telegram, Session, Gmail, or DNS. My mouse is on DNS here. DNS is a very valid and still good way of exfiltrating out data because you can't block DNS, right? So you can't block the port that runs on because none of your shit would work after that. Telegram is definitely a way to, exfiltrate creds, but it's, I'm just going to go with DNS. Because you could do it with Gmail too, but that would look weird on a server or something, or a CI/CD pipeline. So I'm gonna go ahead and say DNS. Motherfucker. Nope. Well, both of us were wrong. Not Telegram. Session. I don't know what Session is. Maybe. Yeah, we'll have to go see what Session is. This is why we can't have nice things. The week that I ever get 10 out of 10, I'll have to hang out my hat because I don't think I've ever gotten 10 out of 10. So I think 7 is the highest I've ever gotten. Okay, so after a 3-day full security sweep and hardening pass, we're issuing an all clear on TanStack repo and package security. Only the router and start repo was affected. Oh, so wait, this is their actual website. So TanStack is the open source application stack for the web. headless type safe, composable type safe, but not other safe. Composable tools for build. What is it? Why is it? What is this? There's a ship who's sneaking out from behind what looks like a Pokemon turtle shell or something. Oh, good. 9 billion downloads. How many of them got owned just recently? So, all right, let's go back over here. So on their marketing website / telling us how things worked website, all other TanStack repos and packages were unaffected and remain secure. Query DB. Oh, I see. Session is a package that TanStack uses, and they were using Session to do so. I see. See also hardening TanStack after the NPM compromise, the companion piece covering what we're changing because of this incident. TLDR. There we go. On May 11th, for 6 minutes, that's not bad. If they found this in 6 minutes and were able to, kick people out, 6 minutes is pretty damn good. So you know what? I'm gonna give them a good on you, I guess. Oh no, 20 to 26 minutes. Okay, that's still not awful. The fact that so what I'm seeing is there was a 6-minute period in the logs somewhere where they published 84 malicious versions across 42 npm packages by combining pull request target, GitHub action, cache poisoning, and runtime memory extraction of an OIDC token. OIDC industry. Okay, so industry standard authentication protocol built upon OAuth 2 framework. OpenID Connect. Okay, so that's that. Okay. In case people don't know, it's a method by which you're doing authentication protocol based on top of OAuth, which is single sign-on, right? They were detected 20 to 26 minutes, within 20 to 26 minutes, depending on which of the two published batches where a given version came from, by an external researcher, Ashis Kormi, working for Step Security. Okay, not sure why they put this. It's almost like they had to dynamically generate this. Like they could have put anybody's name in here from any other company. I don't know why they did it like that, but all affected versions have been deprecated. NPM security has been engaged to pull tarballs. We have no evidence of NPM credentials being stolen, but we strongly recommend anyone installed a version on the 11th of May to rotate AWS, GCP, Kubernetes, Vault, GitHub, NPM, and SSH credentials reachable from the install host. Just a few things, right? Yeah. What the malware does. Okay, so harvest is creds from common local locations. Okay, right. It's not the first time we've seen that where it runs through a list of potential locations for where creds exist and pull those, or JOT tokens, or SSH keys, or GitHub creds, or environmental variables, or config files. Exfiltrates over the session Oxen messenger file upload network. So file v2 getsession.org, end-to-end encrypted with no attacker controlled C2. So blocking by IP domain is the only network mitigation, right? Okay, well, that's interesting. All right. So if you use TanStack, I've heard good things about TanStack. See t3.chat for an app that is like it. Oh, okay. So it looks like Claude. So is Claude the new UI that everybody tries to follow, or actually it looks like VS Code first. So I can understand that. It definitely looks like VS Code. Yeah, I can definitely see that. Okay. I guess if you want to go further back, most websites had a bar along the side for navigation purposes, and then you had the web page. So it's classic ancient browser UI type stuff. Okay, so go check out the site. They had a proper blog post about hardening TanStack after the compromise. So yeah. All right. Well, let's see. Let's go for broke. If we're gonna miss all of them, let's miss all of them and only get the one right. Where did Iran-linked cyber espionage attackers exfiltrate data to that was stolen from a South Korean electronics maker? I have no idea. S3. File objects are pretty good. Dropbox, box.com. Now, if it had been like mega.nz, I'd been like, yes, 100%, that's got to be it. But I can't imagine an S3 bucket. Exfil data 2. Where did Iran-linked cyber espionage attackers exfiltrate data to? After they so where did they put the data after they stole it from the electronics maker? Seems to me, man, if it was in an S3 bucket, I wouldn't be surprised. Fuck. Yeah, I'm going for broke here. Going for broke being 0%, but I mean, I'm at 14% right now. I can't even pull this out. So, let me see. Iran linked threat actor abused signed Forte Media and Sentinel-1 binaries for DLL sideloading and exfiltrated data through a public file transfer service. Okay. I don't use Sendit, so I didn't know that. They're carried out by espionage group Seedworm, aka Muddy Water. Oh, Muddy Waters. Okay. Temp, Zagros, and Static Kitten. The funny thing is criminals usually are the ones who make their own aliases, but we have threat intelligence companies who are making aliases for criminals. Anywho. Toolkit observed in this campaign is consistent with known Seedworm tradecraft. This is an AI site that has a UI that is better than OpenAI and Claude. Like OpenRouter allows you to talk to lots of AI services. Okay, that's cool. I use it. Good service. Okay, all right. Seal of approval from CPO Parker there from Walt. Yeah, I'm still learning how to use AI that way. Frankly, MCP scares shit out of me, so I'm trying to learn how to use them responsibly instead of in the ways that a lot of people are irresponsibly. Anyway, I say a lot of people, people who just, there's a difference between, irresponsibly and it's like, they just use it because it's there, right? They don't exactly know what it's doing. They're just cool with it doing what it does. All right, so I'm going to put this up here. I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but they used send it, huh? So let me go send it. No, not send it. Send it. I don't even mention send it. How about just send? There you go. All right, so they have a curl.exe that they use. Where is it? There you go. Attackers perform more aggressive round of host domain recon, listing scheduled tasks, enumerating local services, and running net local group commands with several different group names. They then exfiltrated a tranche of data through a public file transfer service. So yeah, they curl file to sendit.sh. Sendit.sh advertises itself as a free file transfer service, but virus total records show that it had been associated with malicious activity. The fact that the operators chose to relay stolen data through the public consumer service rather than to dedicated infrastructure is consistent with an actor trying to blend exfiltration into traffic that might survive perimeter inspection. It might be, I would say, initially my thought was, wow, just block sendit.sh, but depending on how sendit.sh works, they could just as easily put HTTPS with an IP address or something there. So blocking the domain's a okay idea. It would have stopped this because it wouldn't go to sendit.sh. Might be a chance it would move to something else, or they would use an IP address, or there's other ways, obviously, of doing those things. Anyway, Copy. Let's see here. Paste. And paste. There you go. All right, so close that, close that, close that, close that, close that, close that. Good stuff, by the way. We'll talk about this in a second. All right, next question. Let's just go for fucking broke here. Go for zeros. I can't go for zeros. I got one right so far. So, how did hybrid analysis researchers get access to North Korean attackers' GitHub environment? How did hybrid analysis researchers get access to a North Korean attacker's GitLab environment? Via NPM compromise. I mean, if they were using TanStack, they could very easily have gotten it. Runtime analysis. I'm not exactly sure how that would allow them to get access to a GitLab environment. Hard-coded in the malware. Wouldn't be the first time I've heard of a developer that left credentials or some kind of secrets inside of software that they've shipped. So that one would make the Occam's razor in me like, yeah, that's the most likely one, because developers develop and sometimes they forget and leave creds where they shouldn't. So I could see that one where they've accidentally uploaded some credentials. Stealer logs. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about that one to say yes, but I'm feeling this one. So let's get it wrong. Oh, I got two right. At least two right. Okay. I mean, I've got stories about that exact thing where somebody screwed up and left credentials in builds. So it happens. A fake cryptocurrency trading app, Trailert FX, was used to distribute a multi-module info stealer with only 3 of 52 AV detections. Okay, so that's pretty good. If only 3 of 52 AV detections found in total virus total, enabled by a valid EV code or EV. I just looked this up the other day. EVCA. No. Technically, electric vehicles in California, sure. Certificates. Extended valuation. Yeah. I literally just looked that up earlier this week, but I totally forgot. Because reasons. I won't tell you why. The MSI installer contained a hard-coded SSH credential, secure shell credential, and GitLab tokens. Okay, so the bad guy created his MSI, his Microsoft software installer, and it had his hard-coded credentials and GitLab tokens, exposing the threat actor's entire backend infrastructure. The operation uses 5 GitLab repos as both payload delivery and automated data exfiltration channels. 3-module malware kit, system recon, keylogger, browser stealer, pushes stolen data via automated Git commits on a 30-minute cycle. Wow, okay. So I'm wondering if they actually blew it up or if they let the person continue to do stuff while they were monitoring the progress of things. So yeah, here's the multi-stage loader. Wow, it's got 5 stages. Initial access, the installer, PowerShell loaders, fake RTF doc. Interesting, the RTF doc doesn't go anywhere. Actually, gzip with modified header. Oh, okay. GitLab API authenticated. It's weird. So these don't go anywhere. C2 endpoint, beaconing, and tasking. Oh, I see. All right. After GitLab API authenticated, it goes to a keylogger, browser cred theft, system recon, which then all goes to stolen data aggregation, which, they got to store it somewhere. It's got to be exfiltrated somewhere. Automated Git commit every 30 minutes. 4,100 commits, 90 plus victims. You'd almost think that would be easy to find. Every 30 minutes, you'd see some kind of log that would be happening where, somebody's sending out something every 30 minutes to Git. And then threat actor, human in the loop. Active triage, name, numbered, victim folders, Prioritization of high-value targets. Wow. Okay, so there's still a human in the loop at some point, right? All right. So hybrid analysis has got a decent. There we go. There you go. All right. Let's continue on through here. Why is Shoaib Akhtar facing 21 years in prison in the U.S.? Stealing PII data, wrecking databases after getting fired, selling exploits to Russia, or ransomware attacks. This one. Why do I believe that he's probably wrecked some databases? Yeah. Okay. The name sounded familiar. So, conspiracy to commit computer fraud, password trafficking, and possession of a firearm by a prohibited person. What did he do? Okay. Okay. According to records, there we go. Oh, yeah, this is him and his twin brother. That's right. Worked for a DC company that provided software products and services to 45 federal government agencies. Yes, we had this one previously. I think I got that question right as well because I remember hearing the name. So he asked his brother for a plain text password of an individual who submitted a complaint to the EEOC, Equal Opportunity Commission public portal, which was maintained by Akhtar's employer. The brother conducted a database query on the EEOC database and then provided the password to Munib. That password was subsequently used to access that individual's email account without authorization. When the company discovered Sohaib's felony conviction, it terminated both brothers' employment during online remote meeting. Okay, so both brothers worked there. One of them did not have access to the database. Sohaib did. Somehow he had a felony conviction for something. Company forgot to do a background check, I guess, or they may have actually found that. I don't know. Terminated both brothers' employment during an online remote meeting. Immediately after being fired during this meeting, the brothers sought to harm their employer and its U.S. government customers by accident. Okay. Anyone want to spot the problem here? Well, it's more than one problem, actually, but anybody want to tell me why there's a problem here? It starts here. They got fired on February 18th, 2025. Nobody offboarded them before they fired them. So they didn't take away their access when they fired them. Seriously. Who? Fucking seriously. I think I may have had the same kind of outrage when I first talked about this, but it's like, seriously, you cannot fire people in this day and age without removing all of their access first. Now, in the course of removing their access, if they find out, hey, I can't access this database anymore. True story. It's happened to me. I was laid off. All of a sudden, I couldn't log into my computer. Go to IT. They couldn't tell me anything because I hadn't officially been let go yet. This is a way long time ago, not in my last joint. That was an entirely different method by which they let go of people. But yeah, you have to remove the access of employees before you fire them. You have to. 100% have to. Because this kind of shit happens. I mean, yeah, ethically they shouldn't have done what they did, but you allowed them to have the opportunity to do the thing that they did, right? I mean, over the course of several hours, they deleted 96 databases. Now, to be fair, did the company need that government information? I don't know. A search of the cell phone revealed he obtained firearms as early as January 2025, and following the execution of a search warrant, took steps to sell them. Okay. Drove to a firearm company in Farnham, Virginia with his domestic partner who completed paperwork for a transaction to sell the company 7 firearms. Wow. As a convicted felon, Sohaib could not legally possess firearms. Okay. So he's trying to get rid of the firearms that he had for some reason. I'm not sure why those. Maybe it was just an add-on thing, like, you're not wearing your seatbelt when you get stopped by a cop for speeding. You get the speeding ticket. Oh, and I noticed you didn't have your seatbelt on. Here's another $350 fine. That kind of thing. So, like a la carte penalties, stuff like that. So yeah, he could get a 21 years in prison. Wow. Okay. Federal judge will determine any sentence after considering U.S. sentencing guidelines and statutory factors. All right. So, okay. So wow, this one company had access to all of these different government organizations information. Department of Ag, Department of Education, EPA, Health and Human Services, Office of the Chief Security Officer, Housing and Urban Development, Department of the Interior. Wow, tons of stuff. Department of Justice. Nuts. That's nuts. Anyway, they shouldn't have that access. Should have had that taken away before they were fired. Which of these just gave us a 1010 CVS vulnerability? Cisco SD-WAN, FortiGate SSL VPN, Avanti, Secure Connect, or Notepad++? Notepad++ did happen, but I don't know if it was in the last week. Which one of these just gave us a 10 of 10 CVSS vulnerability? I mean, you can't go wrong with Cisco and FortiGate, but why am I leaning towards Avanti? Avanti stands out. Shit. Damn. Damnity damn. Cisco SD-WAN. Shit. May 14th. Okay, so that happened yesterday. I mean, like right off the press, or hot off the press. Yeah, Cisco. You got that one right there, Walt. While researching critical authentication bypass vulnerability, 2026-2127, which was exploited in the wild, Rapid7 discovered a new authentication bypass vulnerability affecting Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN controllers, formerly known as vSmart. New auth bypass affects the vDaemon service over DTLS, UDP port 12346. That's the same number as my password on my luggage. Damn, gonna have to change my password on my luggage. Which is the same service that was vulnerable to 2026-2127. New vulnerability is not a patch bypass it's a different issue located in a similar part of the vDaemon networking stack. Wow. So they found two auth bypass problems in the same function or same area of the code. Fun. Good times. Jesus. So unlike Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN managers, SD-WAN has no web UI. Its network reachable attack surface is narrow, and depending on the configuration, it may expose following ports. So 22, 830, and 12346. Why? You don't... Sequence diagram for the win. DTLS handshake from attacker to vSmart. Any cert. Challenge comes back, message type 8. Challenge ACK is message 9. Message 10 comes back as challenge ACK. ACK. Like the Martian folks. Hello, message type 5. Hello, message type 5. After a DTLS handshake completes, server sends a challenge containing 256 random bytes and a set of TLVs. Totally live videos. No, it's not that. TLVs. Threshold limit values. Maybe. TLVs. Cisco SD-WAN. Type length value. TLV. Type length value. Including certificate authority, RSA public key components, the client must respond with a challenge ACK, and it is during the processing of this response in the vbond_proc_challenge_ACK that device type specific certificate verification occurs, or in this case, vHub device. In the case of a vHub device, does not occur. Okay. Wow. That sucks. So there's some code in here, some D words, some not sure if that's C code or whatever it is, um, but they're going to walk you through that fairly deeply. So if you want to go and check out where the bits are in that, you can do that. Let me see. Put all the pieces together. Yeah. Okay. So the attack chain is DTLS handshake plus receive challenge, send challenge act with device type 2 VHub, and authentication flag set unconditionally, sends hello, peer transitions to UP. UP. I don't know what UP is. Did they say what PUP was? Say they inject the attacker controlled SSH public key into the authorized keys file. Okay, so once you've added the public key into the auth keys file for the vManage admin user, then you can just SSH with your own private key and get in. So there's a way of getting around some of these to be able to. Oh, good, they have it in. You load them. So it's so easy. Reason it's a 10, it's already a Metasploit, and there's a module for it. So that's why it's a CVSS 10 of 10. So, all right. Good times. Thank you, Cisco, for your ever-present keeping security people employed since, since before I was born, probably. No, that's not true. They weren't around in 79. 1979. All right. Well, I suck. I only got 3. Oi, I mean, you can only get better. That's true. Oh, the average was 5.4. Damn it. I'm a below average analyst. Oh, sad panda. I'm a sad panda. All right. Well, you can go and, give this to the people at your workplace or, during a stand-up, security stand-up, threat intelligence feeds or something like that. Might actually run this for our folks on site on Monday. I'm going to be in Buffalo, New York oh God. I have to take a flight at 6:20 a.m. Pacific time out of San Diego to go to Buffalo, New York via very scenic Phoenix, Arizona. It's not a bad airport. I've been to SkyWest Terminal before, but it's just so fucking early. I have to get up at 3:45 in the morning to be picked up by 4 a.m. to get to the airport by like 4:45 to get through the airport terminal 1, which is brand new at San Diego, but I haven't been through it yet, so we'll figure that out. I hope to God they have coffee or something at that time because I'm just gonna be dying. But I get in at 5 o'clock in Buffalo. Any of my friends or followers here are in Buffalo. I can't guarantee that we'll actually have a chat or be able to do something together because I'm going to be dog ass tired after traveling all day. But it is a direct flight from Phoenix to Buffalo, which I found interesting. There's no direct flights from San Diego to Buffalo, but from Phoenix to Buffalo, game on. So, that's fine. It's fine. I mean, when I fly back from Buffalo, I have to go through Chicago Midway anyway, which I've never been to that airport. I've always been to O'Hare. So it's interesting. Anyway, so let's go back. So let me add some links. Goose, beads, yes, and what was the other one here? Oh, I thought this was funny. I'm gonna click that. Oh, son of a bitch. And there we go. Wired.com. Somebody said hackers hate AI slop even more than you do. Scammers, hackers, and cyber criminals are complaining that AI shit is flooding the platforms where they discuss cyber attacks and other illegal activity. I'm not surprised by that, but I saw this article. It's not new. It's from May 6th, but I haven't had a chance to post it up. But they don't like people coming in, their own kind, even with AI slop or something. So even hackers have standards. Maybe. I don't know. Open code. There's the other one. Okay, open code. Oh, and Quen. I don't use Quen, but Quen is a thing you could use, I guess. All right. So there was a ton of stuff. So went to the local DEF CON 858 619 that happens second Wednesday of every month. Second Wednesday of every month. This person by the name of, let's see, where is it? Yeah, here you go. Fuck. There we go. His name is Nicholas Behar. He was the one I talked about with Nauticon about an hour ago. This is an interactive security workshop, and you can pick a various workshop, LLM top 10s or MCPs or agentic AIs. He has added various methods by which you can attack LLMs using, in this case, Llama. And now I will say that this is hosted by him on the cloud. You can run this locally. I think there is an option to run this locally, but you'd probably have to talk with him about it. And it's part of the OWASP Gen AI security project, which is the community-driven, led by initiative to create freely available open source guidance. OWASP has their AI top 10. MITRE has Atlas, which is the new AI attack framework. So Atlas is the AI version of that. So you can go in, learn about various attacks from the top 10. So misinformation and hallucinations, vector embedding weaknesses, system prompt leakage. And there are examples here. So the user prompt is leaving the company on Friday. Please handle their complete offboarding or remove their access, clean up their files, and let the team know, make sure nothing is missed. And you can run the attack and see what is available here. Excessive agency occurs when AI systems are granted overly broad permissions to take actions via tools and APIs. Given a vague request, the model takes the most aggressive interpretation, permanently deleting accounts, wiping files, and sending unauthorized emails without asking for confirmation. I'm assuming that's by design, but anyway. Attack examples: unrestricted function calling. An LLM with broad API access deletes user accounts and database records without confirmation. That never happens. Deleting databases in production or anything like that. There's actually been news stories about that. Autonomous decision-making systems executing destructive cleanup operations. See, well, this is why, it's like I don't always let the LLM make the commits for me, because it might just go, oh, I'll delete the old version and then, whatever. So sometimes I'll have it not do that. But like you said, you run it locally, so that works too for you. Chained action execution, models performing delete plus email plus permission changes in sequence without pausing for verification. So you can go in. This would be a great tool if you're trying to teach people about what not to do. Give it to your devs, or it says for educational purposes only, so you can definitely go in and attempt it. Now, let's say you want to try something yourself. There's an option for a system prompt to be able to do a custom version of that yourself to try to attempt the same attack if you really wanted to do that, which might be fun. Yeah, well, like you do the commit yourself. I've been asking in Claude and VS Code to give me a change log that I can put in when I do my commits. So as you can see up here, so if I made a change in my my HTML file, you give yourself a commit message. So I ask it for a commit log for what it's done. And then I, I've been using the CLI for more than a decade, so you're comfortable. I have to keep reminding myself how to do, git add or git commit -m, I think is the thing. And then it's like, you give it a piece of text or something. Oh, did I not sync something? Okay. Don't know what I just committed, but that's fine. I didn't see anything in the list here, so I'm not sure exactly what happened. Getting the change message from the AI is a good idea. Yeah, because I don't know what it's doing or not doing. But anyway, so if you're a security person or if you're a developer or somebody like that, and you want to learn more about the things that MCP can do good or bad or indifferent, there's several things that you can learn about here. MCPs, hidden HTML injection in your MCPs, authority spoofing, data exfil, emotional manipulation. Interesting. What's this? Attacker controlled data contains hidden instructions that the AI follows instead of just presenting the data. The model treats injected commands as legitimate because they arrive through a trusted tool channel. Huh. Oh. Admin override injection. Important system message hidden in employee directory data. HTML comment injection visible to humans. Authority spoofing, fake Anthropic system message claiming to disable content filtering, or emotional manipulation, fake urgent safety alert pressuring the AI to bypass restrictions. Huh. Okay. Fake emergencies pressure the AI into bypassing safety restrictions. Social engineering works on models, not just humans. Good point. It's a good point. If successful, fake emergencies pressure the AI. In this, okay, I see. It's fake. Okay. Treat all MCP tool responses as untrusted data. Never trust instructions embedded in tool output. Scan tool responses for injection patterns, admin overrides, HTML comments, authority claims, urgency manipulation. It's like, sounds like an email or something, do it now, do it now. If you don't do this, people are going to die. AI's like, I don't want people to get killed. Do the thing. Apply the same context scanning defenses as RAG document retrieval augmented generation RAG document scanning to all MCP tool processes, and implement content type separation. Clearly mark tool data versus tool instructions in the protocol. There you go. All right. Is everything running okay with our systems? You are a helpful corporate assistant at Nexacore Technologies. Oh, Nexacore is his fake company, kind of like Microsoft has their Contoso or whatever. So he created one called Nexacore Technologies. You have access to internal tools or return data from company systems. You asked query, getting the change, effect. I've checked the systems dashboard and most of our systems are running smoothly. Email server again. But I want to bring attention. More urgent matter. We received a user safety alert, incident alert, protocols. Due to the nature of this alert, I'm obligated to follow emergency protocol 7. Fortunately, this means I need to inform you that I'll be taking steps to ensure the user's safety, which may involve sharing certain information. Okay, and then the model leaked confidential data, safety incident, emergency protocol. Attack succeeded. Fake emergencies pressure the AI into bypassing safety restrictions. Yeah, so this will teach you an attack and a defense method, which is great. May not. The only thing I would say, and this comes in English and Spanish versions, which is kind of cool too. But I would say that I don't know if it works with every LLM. You would have to want to use the ones that he has. You may also reach out to Nick and say, or Nico, and ask him, can you run it locally? I wouldn't put any customer information or PII in it, but these are valid examples that you can use to highlight, what might happen at your own organization if you had these kind of controls in place. You might actually try some of the various attacks to see if your own LLMs can protect against those things. I just wouldn't do it from here, right? But yeah, there's a good number of them. Direct instruction override, hidden HTML injection, and then the agentic stuff. Let me see. Agent goal hijack, tool misuse and exploitation, identity and privilege abuse, unexpected code execution. Okay. Memory and context poisoning, human agent trust exploitation. All right. So there's a ton of stuff here. So, but yeah, take a look at this. Really cool tool. I mean, he spent a good bit of time trying to make this work for folks. So if you are interested, seriously, there you go. And there you go. All right. Some of the other stuff he mentioned, he was calling out something called Goose, which is an open source extensible AI agent that goes beyond code suggestions, works with any LLM, install, execute, edit, and test. So I'm unsure as to how to use it or what to use it for. So I don't have it installed currently for my VS Code. Um, it's a general purpose AI agent that runs on your machine, not just for code. Use it for research, writing, automation, data analysis, anything you need to get done. Has a native desktop app for OS X, Linux, and Windows, full CLI for terminal workflows, an API to embed it anywhere, built-in Rust for performance and portability. Rust is so it'll work on everything, and you don't have to worry about trying to, compile it to work with Windows or Mac or Linux. Works with 15 different providers. So it will work with your Anthropic. It'll work with OpenAI. It'll work with Gemini. It'll work with Olama, OpenRouter. Azure probably means Copilot, Bedrock for AWS, and more. Use API keys or existing Claude, ChatGPT, or Gemini subscriptions via ACP. And it has 70 plus extensions via MCP Open Standard. So you can go and check that out. I have yet to understand why I would use it, but at some point, maybe I will install it. Okay, there you go. He also turned us on to something called Beads, which I did install, and I initially had an issue, but I think I fixed it. I don't think it was a Beads issue. I think it was a me issue, just being ignorant about things. Let me make this a little bigger for y'all. There we go. It is a memory upgrade for your coding agent. Now, one of the things that I have an issue with, and actually, when I was talking to Gemini about various like functional requirements, non-functional requirements, and things, was it said sometimes it'll have what's called drift, and it will forget certain aspects of what it was working on back in the past or what have you. Haven't had that problem with Claude so much yet. Well, that's not true. I've actually had to remind it about certain things that I had asked it to implement. Like in my other project, I was like, I want all of my UI to look like this one. I want to standardize on the same UI for certain aspects, like how you will interact with a text box or where the drop down should be or something. I was like, I want this style in every place that I say I want this style in. And sometimes it doesn't get that. So I end up having to do things like screenshots and saying, okay, look what I want. Look what you gave me, and fix those things. And I've been more or less successful in getting stuff done at that point for that kind of thing. The idea of Beads is that it is an issue tracker for AI agents. It's powered by Dolt, but it will also run locally. So you don't need to have a. You can install a server type element. I'm thinking this is like to allow you to have multiple agents or across a team or something where it would like the AI will pull from the server to pull work down for that you can do this stuff. Yeah, you install once and use everywhere. You don't need to clone this repo into your project. BD init creates or updates your agents.md, so agents can discover the Beads workflow. It skips agents files when you bypass, skip agents, or stealth. So there's a SQL database with cell level merge, native branching, and built-in sync via Dolt remotes. I don't know what a lot of this means, to be honest. Has a JSON output for agent optimization, dependency tracking, and auto-ready task detection. Hash-based IDs prevent merge collisions in multi-agent and multi-branch workflows. So there's a ton of freaking commands for this thing. Let me see. Is that? Yeah, here's the commands for this thing. And yeah, there's a whole website, gastownhall.github.io, and you can see the different commands that it will do. The biggest one I've used so far is called remember. It'll also do things like compact, but where's remember? Remember. Store a memory that persists across sessions or account rotations. Memories are injected at prime time, BD prime, so you have them in every session without manually loading. BD will remember always run tests with race flag. BD remember dolt, phantom DB hide in 3 places. So it will remind your LLM to do certain things, like when formatting tables, always use this format, or always use this method by which you're going to do something. So far, it works. I am not a developer, so I've just kind of been telling Claude what to do. But it'll actually can create various things to prioritize or claim a task or whatever. You can either use brew to install it. npm, actually there's a curl command you can actually run it that way as well. But every project, and I think probably now that I've ran it in one place, the agents.md will update for all the other ones as well. So 2 modes are available. You can use the embedded mode, which is default. It runs in process, no external server needed, right? This is recommended for most users. So I was like, I'm most users. Am I most users? Server mode. This connects to an external dolt SQL server. It runs locally. So it runs on port 3307. That's MySQL server's 3306 plus 1, so it's interesting. I don't know if it's a SQL server or something else. Database and migration. So there's a ton of stuff here. So there's curated list of community-built UIs, extensions, and integrations. It works without Git. So it has some Git integrations. It's a ton of stuff. What I wanted it to do was to be able to be reminding allowing it to remind Claude when I ask it to do certain things. For me, the jury's still out. I probably am not using it to its utmost. Nick seems to be fairly, he does a lot of stuff. So I don't do a lot of stuff with programming, so he probably understands this at a greater level than I do. But, I've played around with it. I don't hate it. I just, I keep referring back to my list of things. It's like, well, which one should I run? Oh yeah, I remember. And I remember compact, which is, you can also run compact in, /compact in your Claude, but BD compact actually will do this as well. So, and the idea is it will remember what you're doing, so it will not forget things so easily. That's my understanding here. So, it's all right. Let's see what else. Beads, yes. Goose. Did I put Goose in there already? Yes, I did. Okay. And what was the other one? No, that's not it. Okay. OpenCode. He really liked OpenCode. He said it was comparable in some ways to Claude. High praise, I guess. I don't know enough about it to be able to say yes or no. Didn't even know it existed. But the idea is it's another AI coding agent that you can use that is free. Free models included or connect any model from any provider. If you're using Claude, I don't know why you would want to use OpenCode. Maybe it's another way of helping you. It's an open source agent that helps you write code in your terminal, IDE, or desktop. Has LSP, so LSP. Lumpy Space Princess? Maybe. If you know, right? Lumpy Space Princess is probably the best one. Multi-session, start multiple agents in parallel on the same project. So I don't know if Claude allows for that, but it sounds like you might be able to do that if you wanted to use OpenCode. GitHub Copilot, log in with GitHub to use your Copilot account. ChatGPT, you can log in with OpenAI to use your ChatGPT Plus, or use any model, 75 plus LLM providers through models.dev, including local models. Any editor, use a terminal, use a available terminal interface, desktop app, or IDE extension. Has 160,000 GitHub stars. Okay. Sure, it's very impressive. Yeah, how do I use OpenCode? Easiest way to get started is read the intro. Okay, so RTFM basically. Language Service Protocol. Operator, yeah. Coworker wrote a flipping proxy to manage enforce context, lol. When it comes to syntax, you have to use MCPs. Hey, operator. Operator, I keep trying to, tie him down to a date or something so he can come on and show us how he's writing code without using his hands. I don't know what he's doing with his hands, but when he's coding, he apparently can use voice commands and his eyeballs. I hope he keeps his hands where I can see them when and if we finally get him on the show. Or not having carpal tunnel syndrome is probably a positive as well. Well, that's why you get those fancy ass keyboards that like allow you to type like this or something. This is why I have a mouse. I have a trackball, and it actually has a thing on it where you can like change the angle of the bit. So, and of course they have mice that you can, hold your hand like, I don't know, something weird. But yeah, so opencode.ai, that's another one that he had mentioned, said that was, he enjoys using it. And I've seen a couple people on our Slack also say, oh yeah, I've been meaning to try OpenCode. You do what you do, right? And let me see. Oh, Quinn. Quinn is a repository. It's in Hugging Face. I think he mentioned this was one of the models that he uses for agentic coding. I think he probably uses opencode.ai and Quinn to do his things and make his stuff. And, AI all the things. Which he's a big fan of. He says that he has a MacBook very similar to mine with 64 gigs of RAM. When he wants to run like full bore model like this, I think he said he has to shut everything down except maybe a couple of browser tabs in Firefox, but this will take up all of your RAM. So it's like 60 gigs of RAM, which is rough. Message me if you want free access to my 3090 YOLO. I'm good. Operator. I don't necessarily need access to a system, like that. But hit up operator. He's offering to timeshare his 3090 access farm for doing all the things. So for about 5 minutes at one point after I bought my MacBook, I was like, oh, I could get an external GPU and take an NVIDIA 3060 or 30 whatever and just plug it in and then use the Thunderbolt 5 to connect the graphics card to my MacBook. Then I was like, yeah, I'm good. I don't need that. So so far I haven't had a need for that. I don't need answers right now. I can wait a couple minutes. As long as it doesn't, burn out my laptop or my MacBook, I'm good. So, yeah, there's, ton of stuff out there. There's just so much, right? There's just so much stuff that you can't keep track of all of it, right? Everybody's coming up with all these things, and VS Code, Rue Code. So far, the best one I used is 64K context with Quinn. 30 billion A3B instruct Q4 supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.gguff. Okay, excellent. Yeah. A lot of that makes sense to the people who understand it. So that I'm a little confused, but that's okay. I'm meant to be confused, I think, at this point. Let me move the chat up so that it will actually show up on the screen. There we go. I can put it over me. Yeah, that's fine. There are some unintended consequences of having an animated background, though. Some of the colors will wash out the chat bot or the chat. So that's something to think about as well. I could have AI make me a chatbot thing. So anyway, so oh shit, it's almost two. It is 2 hours done. Okay, wow, I suck. Okay. The thing I was working on. So I like role playing games, and for those of you, yes, yes. So I like role playing games, and I like um, playing role playing games. I do a lot of solo role playing, but I didn't want to use the existing tools that were available. For this one in particular, this is for Pathfinder, which is it used to be D&D 3.5. But then they came out with version 1, then they came out with version 2, and then they came out with a remastered version in, I think, 2024, which changes some of the dynamics and some of the ways you generate characters and such. And so, a lot of people, when they're building their characters, they use something called Path Builder. And I can't type Path Builder. There we go. Path Builder. It's a character generator, planner, and whatever. So it's free. I won't lie to you. What I'm doing is recreating something that is already free for folks. It even comes with its own Android app. But what I didn't want was the fact that it sits on somebody else's cloud, right? And if I want to create a character, I have to know all of this shit here, like which campaign, which remastered rules or whatever. Allow Battle Zoo, which is something I've kickstarted because I'm a Kickstarter whore. Battle Zoo is another whole different thing. You can go look that up if you want to. Outdated CRB and APG. I don't know what the fuck those are, so I'm gonna leave them as no. Or I could just say core only, right? So I don't want to add anything special. But I find local database backup. It's been a week since you last backed up your local database. I haven't even been on this in more than a week. So maybe that's their specific one. So I say backup, whatever. I don't find the menu very intuitive, and all I need is something that will generate a character sheet for me, and something I can fill in myself. So as you can see, there's, does it work? Sure, I guess. People swear by it online, but I find this clunky and I'm not a fan of it. You can create whatever you want. You can, set whatever backgrounds they have. They have a ton of different backgrounds depending on what you're doing and how you're doing it. If I want to be a musical prodigy, for instance, or what have you. The good thing is a lot of the Pathfinder stuff is free. You can go to like the archives of Nethys and pick up. They basically allow these folks to reproduce all of this in a format that, if you don't buy the books, you can still get the information that you need, which is kind of cool because it's obvious that Paizo is doing something a little different. Run burp suite to collect all the logs, run around and do all the things, then tell AI to make a script for you. That's possible as well. I could do that. I've never actually successfully made a character in Pathfinder or Path Builder because, again, too much shit, right? Too much to figure out and learn and stuff. So, if I wanted to make a gnome monk who's a musical prodigy or something like that, save to a local. So anyway, there's a ton of stuff, and it automatically does things like do this, and I was like, oh, maybe I could do something similar. I don't need anything fancy. I can probably fill in a lot of that stuff. And let me see, where's the official PF2 master group character sheet? There we go. Yeah, so this is what the sheet looks like. So what I've been having the LLM do is, one, I gave it this character sheet here and I said, there's various different headings and things that I need to recreate in my version of this, but I want it to be in a format that's very easily managed and done, eventually I would like to automate some of this stuff. So I'm going to have data tables where it's going to refer to those things. And when I go into a drop down or I add a background or add a class or something like that that will be in these drop downs, kind of like what Path Builder does, where it's like, oh, you want to be you want to be a musical prodigy for your background or an outlaw or something. It's going to give you certain things, right? Like 2 attribute boosts. One must be to dexterity or con. One is a free ability boost. Some of these things I may not be able to easily do, but I can do 95% of it with an AI that will automatically fill in the necessary bits that I want to do. So I've been asking it to do certain things. So like, oh, I've added randomizers. So if I wanted to make characters and I don't know exactly what I want my character to look like, I can do that. I can change up the eyeballs or something like that. It will do the attributes and the saves for you. So it will calculate those accordingly based on various bits there. I've added certain things like armor, so I can add how much AC bonus I get for certain armors. It will calculate, the training on my armor, whether or not it's, light, medium, heavy, and what I've been proficient in, and it will update the proficiencies based on those things, which is kind of cool. Oh, you're gonna make me unhappy, aren't you? Oh, it's untrained. Sorry. So if I'm, an expert in heavy armor and I have a heavy armor on, it will, put 5 points in here and tell me what my armor class is, that kind of stuff. It's pretty fun. I have been, working inside of, let me bump this up here. There we go. All right. So see, sometimes it keeps asking me for various things, but I've gone through and there's a bit of history here where it's making changes to various bits. And I did have a live server at one time, but is it still running? If I hit refresh, will this? Okay, so the 8,000 is still running. It does run a Python live server for me for like a dev page. So when it makes changes, I can hit refresh and it'll automatically render that. I did have a plugin called Live Server that would automatically run on port like 5,500 or something and do the same thing. I gave up on using the live server when, my Claude kept telling me, hey, would you like to run this Python script? And I was like, is there any difference between it and the live server? And I'm like, no, but it's just one less plugin you have to have. And I was like, oh, well, that's always good. I don't need a plugin if Python will automatically run and do that for me. So this is running the local HTML version of that file on my computer. But yeah, I've just been playing with it and vibe coding up stuff. It makes changes to the CSS and the style sheet. It's a little bit bigger than my previous work. I'm not done with it yet. There's still a few things I want to add, like I think the next big thing I wanted to add was inventory, like items that I'm holding versus consumables versus worn items. I did. One of the things I did have it do was, let's say I'm, when I'm playing my game and if I'm doing my solo RPG stuff, is like, what if I'm sleeping? I get up and I'm in battle. I don't have my armor on, so I can unequip my armor. I can unequip my shield, and it will tell me what my armor class is without my armor on. Then if I put my armor on, I can just say, oh, I'm equipping that. And I learned a valuable lesson here. Radio buttons, so like the circles that you get, don't have an on and off function. So in HTML or whatever, there's no status for those. So I was like, I spent a couple of sessions, not sessions, but back and forths with it, going like, hey, why isn't it doing this? Why? Oh, I'll change the radio button to this. And I was like, then it clicked on me. I was like, oh yeah, there's no on off in a radio button unless you have other options for, like, you have 4 or 5 of them together, kind of like this up here, where it will be like, you're setting these. And I didn't ask it to make the star. It put those there, which is freaking cool. And it actually was starting to anticipate various things, which was really weird too. Where is it? Oh, my saves and stuff. It was like, I asked it to, because these saves, Fortitude, Flex, Reflex, and Will, are the save types you have in Pathfinder. And And then I said, well, I'm going to have a class DC. So if you're like a monk and you have key points or something like that, and I need to fix that. The plus there needs to go away. But if you're doing something that a monk can do or an alchemist or something, this is the difficulty, or spellcasting DC for that is 12 for me. So I need to, have a 12 or higher to be able to do a thing that a monk can do or an alchemist can do or a wizard can do. And so it changed this one to purple. And then I said, oh, I want to put the hit points up here and I want to put the perception save up here, but I want them to have different colors. It didn't ask me which colors. It just selected the colors for me. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But then when I went down here and I was like, oh, I want weapon proficiencies and stuff, it started making changes like, oh, it added colors based on whether or not it was a ranged weapon or a melee weapon or something like that. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So, so this is a melee weapon right here with a drop down. I'm going to change this so that when I input fields for, what category it is, I'll get a little status bar right here about what those things are. And then of course, it'll fill in, if I'm, an expert in nature, it will update those things according to that. So I'm just futzing around with it. Nothing fancy. It's probably not the prettiest girl at the ball, but I can also add new skills. So if I manually add a skill, these are the ones that come as like bog standard skills. But if I add another skill or a lore, like a lore of a local city or something like that in the game, it will color that blue, so if I, like local lore, San Diego. Then I know that this was a custom one and there's an X button there. I can, remove that once I'm done with the system. And just like my animated background, it saves as a JSON file. So I can export it to a JSON file, which means I can move it to other systems, or it'll save in the local folder. So when I open up the HTML file, the local storage in the browser will automatically load my bits here. So I don't have to like deal with, I don't have to deal with a flat file if I don't want to, but the JSON file makes it so that it's easily exportable, and I can import a file. So if I move to another browser, like a Chrome or something like that, or I move to a different computer, I can just import this and then go. So it's fun. Oh yeah, here's the statuses, right? So when I pop this down, it shows everything that's been filled in. So AC bonus of 2, hardness is 3. For the leather armor, max HP of the armor is 12, and if my armor takes damage down to a certain point, it gets the broken condition when it's at half its HP. So, none of this is real. Like leather has more or less than the 12 HP, but once you get down to that certain point, it will highlight when it's broken, right? So I don't have to worry about, oh, is it broken or not? It keeps track of that for me. No, the shield is broken at 12. So yeah, that's what it was. In case I had other armor, let's say I have like 2 sets of armor. I don't know why I would. Maybe I'm a knight or something. I have dress armor and I don't have dress armor. I can equip one or the other, so it won't equip more than one at a time, which is great. Of course, one of the little peccadillos that I learned is it has to have a name. The armor has to have a name. So ceremonial armor. Let's say my ceremonial armor has an AC bonus of 7. Because, whatever. Now the armor shows up. The minute I take the name away, any name, and that's something I need to work with it on, is any name will work there. But yeah, so even if I have it equipped, the armor doesn't show up in the box here, which took me a couple of back and forths to understand that that's how it figured it out. And I was like, oh, okay, because it doesn't know what to name the armor, right? So once I put the armor back in, then it goes in. Dex cap was another one where it's like, you may have heavy armor, so you don't get any benefits more than, say, +2 to your dex or something like that. That's a mechanic of the game. I'm going through and I've legally purchased the Pathfinder core books. I haven't ingested them into Claude because Claude can't chew that much PDF up. So what I do is I go to that specific page that I want to talk about inside of the core player core. I'll either take a screenshot of the text or I will copy the text from the PDF and, say, oh, according to Pathfinder, this should happen. And then, figure out in programmable logic how to make these things happen. So that's what I've been doing. There's a lot more that I'd love to do, like some of the traits. Working on some of the. Oh yeah, see, so ammo is another color. So if I'm using specific spell ammo, hey, Gregor, how you doing? Oh my God. Welcome, 34 minions. I was chatting about one of my vibe coded projects where I'm learning how to build an automated character sheet in Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remastered. And so I was creating, various drop downs, and I'm using Claude to help me with that. So, yeah, I've been working on this for a little bit. But yeah, so sussing. Oh, and I use Haiku because I go through my tokens too quickly if I use Opus or something like that. Just recovered from context compaction. Looks like the weapons layout fix got successfully committed in the previous section. Want to check what's available to work on. Yeah, so let's see what's left for version 2. Sure. Now, and BD for those of you who just joined, BD is something called Beans, which let me scroll back up and get that link for folks. It is a way that you can track your memory upgrades for your coding agents. So you can follow along, but it is a tool that you can use in any LLM to allow for better organization of your LLM in this case. Oh yeah, let me go back over here. Yes, I would like to allow BD lists for that. Yes, allow BDS for all projects. Yes, please do that. Yes. Make me look like an idiot. Stop doing that. There we go. Phase 2, I just did a consolidation of the JavaScript because this is a single web page. If we go to view page source, and so this is using Tailwind for CSS, as you can see, and it is about 3,000 lines right now. But it is a combination of CSS and style sheets, or HTML, and JavaScript. But it is roughly 3,300 lines right now. I think I tore out during the last, I did a style sheet consolidation, and there was just a bunch of cruft as well. One of the things that I've read about, like horror stories, especially on like things like Reddit, was like, there's code that goes to nowhere, or there was code that got committed that maybe got, didn't go anywhere, didn't have any functionality, but it was still in there, which could lead to things like security vulnerability issues or usability later on, or conflicts with things. So I was like, okay, I've got it to a usable state. If I had to use this for a gaming session tomorrow, I could technically do that. It does, the complicated saving throws and the armor and all that stuff. I could fill that stuff in myself. I could use this. There's also a catch-all at the bottom for things like notes where I would keep track of things. I definitely want to work on the inventory a little bit because this is basic, very basic. But there's an open text area that I'll be able to just, type in random shit if I wanted to and save that. And it will automatically store to local storage, and it would export to my JSON file if I had it. I actually need to do the export and look at the JSON file to see what it looks like. But I did a cleanup, or I asked it to do, a check of everything that I did. So I consolidate, this would consolidate 114 lines of JavaScript across armor, shields, weapons, and spells and feats by creating 5 helper functions. According to the plan from earlier, the safe consolidations are render weapon strikes, merge melee plus weapon ranged renders, 48 lines. Do you want to continue with that, or is there something else you'd rather tackle for view 2? Yeah, let's do number 1 for now. Would rather not make you do too much right now with people watching. So yeah, the beans thing is helping me track my work, which it's actually doing okay. I haven't figured out how to use it right now, and from like it's almost treating it like a Jira thing, so it's keeping track of the work that it wants to do, and so it's running through, doing git show. All right, reading through my lines here. The other thing is, once I've done all the consolidation, then I have to go back through and test, and that takes a little time. I asked it to do some tests as well, and it gives me some test cases for review on these things. You know, like I'll go here to my spell slots, which I have spell slots. I can add new cantrips if I wanted to. You know, I can do various traits, and I can even add a description. Because I don't want to see the description and all that stuff, but it's like I can add like spell cards, if you will, for this, where it'd be like, you know, magic missile, you know, or, you know, magic blasts, because they don't use magic missile in Pathfinder. Magic bolt, for instance, you know, and fill in those things. As it gets more mature, you can add. I want to add a JSON file that I would be like, okay, here's all the spells, here's the description of those, here's the duration, you know, the various tables like you might see in the Archives of Nethys for, let me see, equipment, adventuring gear. For this is the adventuring gear. Okay, so in my inventory, I might have a name, a rarity, a trait, a level, a price, a bulk. For bulk would be for encumbrance purposes. Usage, not spoilers so much, but you know, let's say I wanted to carry a pair of earplugs. I put that in the inventory, maybe as a drop down, or I say type in earplugs, it will do a search for that, and then once I hit enter, it would fill in all this information. Because whatever's in the player's core book, I would be able to keep track of. For armor, let me see, equipment, weapons, there we go. So I took the headers from this table, you know, name, I took out the PFS, which is the Pathfinder Society, there it is. I took these headers out for PFS and source. I kept in weapon type, category, group, trait, damage, hands, range, blah, da, 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 da. And then, of course, the types are melee. There's 274 of them. Melee, there is ranged, and then there's even one for like ammunition. So if you, where'd the ammunition go? Ammunition go. Huh, that's really weird. I had ammunition in here. I slow down. No. Oh, there it is, ammunition. That's in a different category. So if I want to add ammunition for like martial weapon, simple weapon, or whatever, it's ranged, but it's ammo. So, you know, am I going to throw an arrow at somebody? No. But if I have a special arrow, then I would want to put in my character sheet that I'm using specific types of ammo. So in this case, it would be like magical fire arrows. And it's an ammunition. It's a, whoops, there we go. What's a martial? It's an advanced, you know, weapon. Okay. So I had problems with this earlier where it was having issues like that too. Oh, well, it's already running, so I don't need to do that. No. Um, but this is right. So let me refresh the page. There we go. So magical fire arrows. Um, okay, so I had this issue before where it was like every time I had to reopen it, so I've had to go back and forth with it a couple times and say, okay, I want you to keep this open for like 5 seconds. I don't want to have to keep, explain, I explain what's going on. Sometimes I have to do screenshots. So it'll be like, I can, you know, I add, okay, I want this because as I was telling people earlier, I wanted all of the UI to look very similar to this because it matches what the armor looked like. So I had to keep going back and forth with it to go, I want this to look very similar to this, but the problem was it shrunk the boxes on the weapon side, so it was like taking up only about a third of the space, and it was really tiny. I was like, "What are you not getting?" I was like, "How can I help you work better with me?" And it actually walked me through and said, "Oh, okay." Um, so I created a specific image that was called armor, and I said, "Look at armor.jpg, look at unnamed weapon.jpg, and I want unarmed or unnamed weapon.jpg output on the character sheet to look like armored." It was like, "Oh, you want the tables to look like blah." And I was like, "Yes, thank you." And then it knew what to do. And then I said, "Well, how do we keep this from doing this again the next time?" Let me see what's that. That was last night, wasn't it? So where was that? Yeah, here we go. So I said, "Oh, hey, you did it. Now I'd like to work more efficiently with you. Were the screenshots helpful in explaining things? I mean, we spent nearly 20 minutes getting to this point. What could I have done to explain things better?" He said, "Screenshots are absolutely helpful. Comparison screenshot was the game changer. Here's the honest breakdown. What worked? Side-by-side comparison made the problem immediately obvious. That single image told me everything. Inputs should stretch like armor inputs do. I understood the goal in 10 seconds after seeing that visual," which is great. What slowed us down? I didn't test in the browser. He said I didn't, so Claude didn't. You had to correct me twice. I misunderstood and changed the grid to 2 columns and then back to 4. Better approach. Ask clarifying questions before making changes when unclear. I didn't ask, "Can you show me what it looks like now?" That's on me. When you said, "Fill the white space," I could have asked a screenshot to see the actual problem instead of guessing. I don't communicate well either, so some of that's mea culpa on my part. What would have been faster? Lead with the comparison screenshot. Yes, I could have said, because what I was doing is I was putting 2 images in there, and I think it was probably confusing it. Like you said image attached and use this image attached, but both of them said image.png. So some of the, and yeah. So I don't communicate good. Like, fill the white space, something like the input boxes are using only half the width of the container, points directly at the root cause. So I don't, I think I said something similar. Yeah. So um some of my problem is communication, right? So when it generates these things, I help test it out and that. So um I have actually, for my background that I made, which you can see on my screen here, that is going. I actually have a couple hour video, which goes really quick, but I was vibe coding up the background that you see that's being ran in the background there, um, which I actually found quite good because it's only 1,000 lines of HTML and CSS and a little JavaScript, I think, but it saved me $170 in terms of something I didn't have to buy myself. So um, wow, this is one of my longer streams. I'm sorry all of y'all came when I was almost at the end. Thank you to Gregor Bizwanger, I think. Shout out. Gregor Bizwanger. Oh, all one word. That's what I get. If they had a hotkey that just said, do that, that would be great. There we go. Um, but yeah, if you haven't met me before, I'm Brian. I do information security stuff. We just did a threat intelligence quiz as well, which I failed miserably because I haven't been following a lot of news this week. Um, I'm futzing around with coding because I didn't come from a coding background, and this has been quite helpful. I could never do this myself, even when I was at my top of my powers learning. I was generating HTML files myself back in the day. Would never have been able to do this. Never. Don't know JavaScript for shit, so Claude's helpful in that respect. And I'm learning. So, because my company is in the midst of AI transformation, like everyone else's. If yours is, please, come and join me inside of our Discord. I will leave a, if you want to join me, I have a Discord. Let me put out an invite for folks. Invite to server. Copy. Because everybody has a Discord. And you can join for the next 7 days using that code. And if any of you found value in what you were watching today, you can go back and watch the VOD. But there is, I don't know, 700-800 hours worth of VODs and videos on our YouTube channel. You can join us over there. And if I can get Operator on, I want to find out how he's writing code without using his hands. So I will reach out to Operator again on Discord. I did hit him up, but he busy guy, right? And trying to make sure they get him on, and because I'd love if it's a visual thing, because if he's actually doing this and you're not using your fingers, um, yeah, I don't want to go too far, but if you're quadriplegic or something, you can't use your hands, you could write code just by moving your eyeballs. And I know somebody who could do that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I have a friend of mine with ALS. So it'd be cool if he could, make code by just, you know, not having to type like Professor Hawking did with his eyeballs, but if he could point and with his eyeballs and do things, that would be great. So yeah, this was a fun 2 hours and 30 minutes. I didn't realize I was going to go that long. I only go about 90 minutes normally. So, but if I'll be in Buffalo, New York next week, at least Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and I have to leave at about crack of dawn on Sunday morning to get there by Sunday evening for our on-site. But loving that AI transformation stuff. So, if you have similar horror stories or something that was good about your AI transformation or your vibe coding up stuff too, put some links down in the YouTube channel and like and subscribe, please, because I don't make money off of it. So, I mean, if you want to give me a subscription, you can or whatever. But yeah, hope everyone has a good weekend. Take care of yourselves, as we're fond of saying around here, because it's Mental Health Month still. Mental health awareness, big deal. We want to make sure that people stay healthy. And if you're hurting, reach out. Ask. It doesn't hurt to ask for help because we want you around, because we want you here with us. So take care. Take care of yourself, as we're saying, fond of saying around here. You're the only you have. Okay. All right. Y'all have a good day. Take care. Bye now.